The clock is ticking for President Trump to post bonds on his $454 million civil fraud judgment. The deadline now just hours away. Already, New York Attorney General Tish James has begun salivating at the prospect of taking away President Trump's decades of hard work. Her maniacal grin reminiscent of a snake about to swallow her next meal. James has already filed judgments in Westchester County, the first indication that she is preparing to try and seize President Trump's many properties. James is clearly hell-bent on making good on her campaign promise to get Trump.
Oh, we're going to definitely assume we're going to be a real pain in the ass.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president.
We need to focus on Donald Trump. We need to follow his money.
What is fueling my soul right now is Trump.
This illegitimate president. I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, and then going home.
How is she still in power? How is this not an abuse of power as a top law enforcement official in New York State? The left continues to push the very limits of the law. Take, for example, this civil fraud case against President Trump. Did you know that Judge Engoron initially ordered that Trump's New York companies be completely dissolved? But numerous legal experts, even this report in the New York Times, detailed how judges can only punish companies with fraud, not individuals. And this fraud case against Trump has never been tried against any person, a single individual in American history. Of course, Trump, now the exception to the rule once he became the frontrunner for the 2024 presidential election. Why did they wait decades to go after Trump? He's a public figure, right? Love him or hate him, he built and rebuilt the New York City skyline like he did after 9/11.
You've had an impact on the skyline of New York. What is it like as you see it now?
It's like a whole different skyline. It's like a whole different city and world. I cannot believe the site of Lower Manhattan without the World Trade Center, and therefore we have to rebuild, not necessarily in that form, but we have to rebuild at least as good and maybe better.
Trump did make New York City better. He made it. He helped make it the financial capital of the world. And as the left tries to destroy him, they strangle New York City in the process, the economy, and therefore all Americans. When will people understand that what's happening to President Trump is more than just a candidate, more than the persecution of one man? It's the demonization of every American out there who wants to save America from this. An invasion like we've never seen before. The fake news won't even show this video because it proves the point that military-aged men are breaking all barriers to come here and take over. And when the fake news does mention the story, take a listen to the MSDNC spin.
See this onslaught headline? The only thing the Post didn't tell you is Donald Trump said, blame me for this. Donald Trump said, kill the bill and blame me for everything that happens after this point. Donald Trump said, blame me. So yes, Donald, we are blaming you.
Unbelievable. Gaslighting at its finest. You know, gaslighting, making you question your own sanity when someone blatantly denies actual reality. It was Joe Biden who rescinded almost 100 Trump orders that kept border chaos at bay, 94 policies to be exact. And that bill that Joe Scarborough speaks of, that bill allowed for about 5,000 illegals per day to walk into this country. And the hundreds of millions of dollars in that bill, not for border security, not for a wall or anything, but to provide more funding for illegals so they can be processed and fast-tracked into this country. Throughout his term, Trump fought hard to keep our nation safe.
The people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
Believe you.
There he is telling swamp creatures, the head of them all, Chuck Schumer, not on my watch. Don't you see? They loathe Trump because he has zero fear, right? While Democrats, they stab you in the back. President Trump, he says whatever he needs to say right to your face, whether you like it or not, because it's the truth. And nothing is more beautiful and powerful than the truth. And the truth also is Biden's base is turning on him now in record numbers.
So let's break this down by race, right? Let's look at voters of color, look at white voters. And what we see here is back in 2020, according to the exit poll, Joe Biden won voters of color in Michigan by 62 points. Look at that advantage today. It has been sliced by a third, only 21 points. That's Joe Biden's lead over Donald Trump among voters of color. Among white voters, Donald Trump has gained a little bit of steam as well. It was 11 points in 2020. His margin over Joe Biden right now is 16 points. But this decline in support for Joe Biden among voters of color in Michigan is something we've been seeing in state after state after state and nationally as well.
Back to the fraud case and the bond due tomorrow. Trump paid back all of his loans in full. Therefore, there are no victims in this case. The bank said they would do business with him again in a heartbeat. So who gets all of Trump's money, right? This bond. And what do you think the state wants to do with all those hundreds of millions of dollars of Trump money? It's a win-win for Democrats, right? Destroy Trump's campaign funds and then use his legacy, his hundreds of millions of dollars to continue destroying this great nation. We cannot stay passive. We cannot stay silent. I keep saying this. If they'll do it to Trump, they'll do it to me, they'll do it to you. Think about this. They're creating case law just to destroy him. That's how desperate they are. They know this. We know this. Trump knows this, just how hell-bent they are on not allowing him to win the White House again. Trump announcing on Truth Social that the Democrats knew he had $500 million, $500 million in cash for his campaign, writing in part, the often overturned political hack judge on the rigged and corrupt AG case where I have done nothing wrong knew this and wanted to take it away from me. And that's where and why he came up with the shocking number, which coupled with his crazy interest demands is approximately $454 million. He went on to write, I did nothing wrong except win an election in 2016 that I wasn't expected to win, did even better in 2020, and now lead by a lot in 2024. This is communism in America. Indeed it is. Trump had no trial, no jury, because again, there was no crime. Even in deep blue, Democrat New York City, they knew they couldn't take the chance that a single person would have the courage, the fortitude to say, I can't railroad this guy just because he can win the White House again. Trump haters believe that subverting and perverting the law is somehow justifiable to stop him. They also think Americans are stupid.
He proudly posts on social media the words that best describe his 2024 campaign, quote, revenge, quote, power, and quote, dictatorship. There's no confusion about who Trump is.
Oh, Joe, we know who Trump is. He is the roadblock to total Democrat domination. Listen, we can't let them destroy Trump with their lies and their venom. And what the snake, the Trump deranged syndrome snake, doesn't realize is that as she wraps around her prey, that prey can and will deal a death blow, making you wish that you slithered on to something else.